And we're live.
And we're back.
John's back, everybody. I'm happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. Well, you travel in the worworld now. They think it's me. It's actually you traveling the world.
It's both of us. But I always love when you whenever you call me, because I know it's good, or whenever I call you, because I know it's always gonna be entertaining. And then now we're back in the studio. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see you.
The last time I called you, I think you were in France again. I think it was France, right? I might have rang you about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't realize you were.
Shut the fuck up. So wait, because there's one big misconception. Some people some people write me. They're like, "What happened with you and John? Like, you guys?" I'm like, "There's nothing."
I know. I tell everybody. They always ask me that question. I go, "Listen, I talk to Felix every week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I talk to Josh, and people are funny, man. They like drama. I think. I mean, the bad people, the good people, are always going to be good, and they're always wishing the best for everybody. But the ones that want that drama, they want to hear. We should have just made up a story.
That's what I'm saying. Like, John tried to whack me. Like, he snuck up on me and tried to kill me when I was outside my house. Like, that's what happened.
I told everybody you went to Italy. You were getting straightened out.
No, but I think it's funny because like every time, like, because we'll talk about all the stuff you're doing right now, but like I think every time that like there's like a show, like if a show ends or whatever it is, like people automatically assume like there's some bad something. Like it's like the exact same. Like anyways, so tell people, for like people that haven't been following, like what you've been up to recently. You're down because you're more down south these days.
I've been down south. So I'm I did another Netflix show that should be out in the next couple of months.
Right, so what's the difference between that one and Fear City?
Fear City was overall about the mob and the structure of the Mafia, and the unions and things like that. And this is specific on this series. It's a series out already about bosses around the world and things like that. Different crews, different organizations. So it's not strictly to the mob.
So what did they have you do?
I was the waiter.
Cleaning the toilets.
Just talking about, we were all over the place talking about different subjects, whether it was, I lived in Colombia, whether it was Colombia, whether it was the Italian mob, whether it was, Denmark, because I just did that series.
Oh, right.
Called the Viking, Nordic Narcos, the Viking with Klaus's life story.
I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, it's 4 parts.
Where can I watch it?
That's going to be here, I believe, in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So that was released in Europe. It was #1 out there for a couple months. And very successful, actually. And that's a great story about Klaus's life.
So then when's the Netflix one coming out? Do you know?
No, I think that's out in about 2 months.
Is it going to be different episodes, or like how are they structured?
Yeah, that's
one
different.
Documentary?
No, it's different episodes. So I don't know where we sit as far as.
We got to get you like one, like just like a solo documentary about you.
Yeah, well, I did a couple basically.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
And get them to.
I mean, I didn't
write a
do
check
anything.
too.
Yeah. That's always good.
Yeah.
I hope they give me the checkbook so I can write it for myself. That'll be good.
No, what's always funny though too is like all my friends, whenever they ask me like, oh, or people that I meet when they're like, oh, like who are some of your like favorite guests, whatever, and I'm like, so I start naming some of my guests. And then when you start bringing up like the mobster and stuff, like they always like pause, right? And they always ask me, this is the funniest way, like, aren't you scared to be around like when I tell them about you, like, aren't you scared to be around him? And I'm like, no, like it's weird. It never crosses my mind like to be scared. But I think my main point is that like I was excited to have you back on because. For me, it's like we can kind of like reflect on like the past few years, getting to know you just in general, and then like for people out there to like better understand this man next to me. It's like, you've had your life, but then when it comes to like me or like people that I see you interact with, like in reality, you're like kind of like a teddy bear, which is a sick thing to say because of your life and your story, right? But I'm always fascinated by it because. Like the psychology behind, like once you die, God forbid, in many years, like they should take your brain into a whole case study because like you have so many different layers, which like on the surface is like it's just pretty impressive considering like you've been to jail, you've killed people, like, you know. So it's I'm always fascinated. Like, I always love listening to your stories. Always love listening to things you got to say, because and you do have some controversial opinions, but
let's not talk politics.
No, I didn't want to bring. I didn't want to. I'm not bringing up the politics to you. Hell no. We can talk about the politics in the
I'll
car.
just say one thing: I can't stand these gas prices, especially the way I drive.
Okay. That I think we can universally agree on. It's not fun.
Now we know why Sleepy Joe's taking the bike around. He fell off the bike the other day. I was the only guy that didn't make fun of him for that, because I'm always falling off my bike.
You know how to bike?
Yeah, I bike all the time.
You know how to swim? You know some people don't know how to swim?
I'm not the greatest swimmer, but there's a video when I was in Europe where I'm swimming. They got me from up on the balcony, up on the penthouse, and they're shooting down while I'm swimming.
Wait,
and I'm not the greatest swimmer around, but
this Josh, can you bike? Yeah. You can swim? I can't swim. Really? See, wait.
Maybe that was you in the water. It wasn't me. I'm going to tell everybody that was you.
Because some people know how to bike. Either A, they can't bike, or they can't swim, or both. But what? Like, did your parents didn't put you in the water?
They did. It just didn't.
It just didn't work.
Tell them where we lived. We lived out in South Jersey. There's no pools. We went through the fire hydrants.
Wait. Wow, that's crazy. Wait, but you never tried to learn?
I've been through 8 swimming lessons.
Oh, so you're just dead. Like,
he just kept sinking.
Wait, no, but I don't. So we can't go to the beach together.
Yeah, we can. It just.
You stay in the area we could walk?
Stay in the shower. If you give me a life jacket, I'm cool.
Oh, okay.
I'm not afraid of water, just as long as I have
just sharks.
Yeah, just sharks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you seen any sharks down in Florida these days?
Wow, it was a couple actually just recently.
While you were in there?
Yeah. I don't go deep. And you know what? That's a misconception actually. They say most of the shark attacks are when you're knee level, because they're sand sharks. They're mostly the sharks that you see really attack. Aren't these great whites and this stuff that we watch in
and those
Jaws,
Florida waters? I don't fuck with that.
No, Florida has a lot of sharks.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I ain't going in the water.
So there was a couple of people in front when we were down there, and it was the day before I got there. Actually, they spotted some sharks. So when everybody went out there, they don't go in the water. But you see a lot of alligators actually. So you got to watch, not in the ocean, but in the waters.
Wait, so you don't miss New York at all? Like when you're down there?
Nah. I mean, you miss the crowds and all that, but. The hustle and bustle, like, when we were out today, there's people all over the place. Yeah. I miss that. But, Florida living is a different living.
Wait, so what's like the lifestyle look like? So this is cool because we're like catching up. Like what's like the
martinis in the morning.
Martinis
on the balcony.
You record a little something during the day? Like, how's it work?
Yeah. I've been recording down there. So, and I got another studio down there. So,
good studio?
We start, down in Tampa, Clearwater area. And been filming. Thomas came in. You know Tomas from Italy. He came in. Yeah. So we're doing something, and we've been filming. And so I'll meet him this weekend again. So we've been doing something with him, and he's got some projects out. He just had a couple projects that just went on TV too. So
so when they do these projects, like, what are they mostly asking you about? Is it like mostly like people that you've put a hit on? Is it people that like drugs? Like, what are mostly the topics?
No, a lot of the topics now recently that I've been doing is how people can reverse their life.
Oh, okay.
Like do all these talks. I just did a talk at college again, and at one of the colleges, and they talk about like it's never too late, like, and I spoke to, and I did a little skit on people that had drug and alcohol problems, how, they're fighting themselves and demons and they can't get through it, and what's your motivation? I said, motivation is very simple, right? I deserve to live. Yeah. I deserve a life. To yourself, to each individual, you should, look at it in a positive way.
I remember like one of the favorite, I guess like we've spent so much time together in the past couple of years, but one of my favorite moments was when you and we had recorded something. This is cool because nobody like saw this because it was off camera when we were outside. And I remember asking you, I was just like, it was a beautiful day. This might have been like last year or a year and a half ago. It was like a beautiful day, and you said, you were just like, I think you were kind of like grateful about the fact that you could even be outside during a sunny day. And I think that always resonated with me because like I never thought about life like that, right? Like I've never been inside in a jail, like, but for you, like I think there's this, correct me if I'm wrong, but like whenever you're able to like breathe in fresh air, be outside, like it makes nothing of what you were doing before worth it. You know what I mean? Like
No,
just being outside and being able to like live your life now, that's the number one priority.
Yeah, I mean, I joke. I like to joke. People don't know that I'm always kidding around, joke, right? Even on the street, I bother everybody, joke around. But by the way, everybody, I'll be back. I'm going to University of Boston next semester.
No, we got to keep him away from any.
I'm going to do the Lindy. What was that guy's name? Roger Dangerfield. Remember Rodney?
No.
There's a movie.
That's before my time.
Yes, before your time. Ask your parents. He goes back to school with his son. It'll be me and you. Take him around. I'm going back and get my degree. So I think it's just what I always say. It's about enjoying life. People want to have me go back to the old me, a lot of people, for whatever reason.
They want you to come out of retirement.
Yeah, and I look at it and I'm like, no, retirement's, it's there. I'm retired. So, but I look at it different because I look at the obligation to try to do the right thing for myself and for other people, more so for other people. So when people are talking about, all this violence in the past, it's almost like I'm talking about somebody else.
Yeah, how often you think about like the specific acts of violence that you did?
Last night I didn't sleep, actually. I just kept having recurring dreams.
Really?
Yeah, so.
About like things that you did?
Yeah.
What any specific ones that you were thinking about?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Tell me.
Well, I had an incident where, I used a knife on somebody that, and that I kept waking up and dreaming about that. So I think it's always going to be with you. I mean, it's part of my life, even though I don't want it to be. It's there.
So, like, wait, I'm curious. So but what was there something that triggered that specific memory?
yeah, actually it was.
What happened?
I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It was an incident over a girl that I was dating. So, and I just kept dreaming about it, and and then.
And this is when?
Oh, when I was younger. Yeah.
Like 20s?
Yeah, early your age.
And so wait, but what triggered this? But what triggered this thought?
I didn't sleep good yesterday. I don't know. It just here's the thing. Though. You know what the thing is, and I need a psychiatrist out there to help me. Better help. That's what I need. I go to sleep fast. Like if I watch a movie and and I'll fall asleep right away. Everybody laughs and then I wake up right away. Like I'm refreshed. An hour later, I'm up and I can't go back to sleep. And I think it just I start thinking about everything.
But like
I'll tell you the new movie I watch. Everybody out there should watch it, and don't get no ideas because it has nothing to do with me. There's a series called. You ever hear this, Josh? You. It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I think it's well. Here's the thing.
That guy's sick. I watched
they make you like the character. It's amazing. Like whoever wrote the story, it's like what's the other one, Dexter? People actually go for.
Yeah.
They're rooting for the serial.
Well, it's
killer.
like the Ted Bundy type shit.
Yeah. Ted Bundy's a little sick.
Very
this
sick.
guy's not much better, but
yeah. Wait, but no,
I'm at the part where he's got one. I won't give up the movie, people. The series, everybody say.
I only watched the first episode.
But he's at the part where he's got one of his girlfriends, and I like the character, so I feel bad.
Oh, wait, so you were watching. Do you think it was because you were watching this, and then you started thinking about like?
No, you know what it was. I'm going to tell you what it was. Brian, what's his name? Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah, he's
from
great.
Breaking Bad. I love that.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, I love that character too.
Yeah.
And now you want to talk about a guy that's a nice guy that turns into a maniac, right? He's killing, he's doing everything, but he's a nice guy. But he was doing an interview about another series he was doing. And I watched that and I put it back on to hear him talk again. And I'm like, wow, this guy's really a cool guy.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it and I guess it got in my head. So when I was dreaming, he was in the dream and we're together going to kill somebody.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is sick.
Yeah, I know.
You knew the psychiatrist bad. Wait, and then you woke up because of that? Like,
yeah, but I kept going back to sleep and having more dreams about this and knives and and he's telling me we got to hide it. We got to hide it.
So Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, we were driving a RV.
Oh, the one that they have in Breaking Bad.
I don't know. I forgot they had that in Breaking Bad.
So funny.
I'm like, why am I like RVs, so I'm like, why I got an RV in this thing?
Wow.
Well, I like to drive, so
yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I had some crazy dreams last night.
But like, does that when you have a dream like that, right, and you're thinking about like an act of violence you committed, do you feel yourself committing it again?
You know what's crazy? I felt like I was committed again. And then during the dream, the police are coming to get me. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I'm done again.
Oh, so you're thinking like, so you're combining like the past and the present.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So you had this feeling of like, oh, I'm done. Like,
that's what people that never been in trouble.
Yeah.
That's got to be the worst feeling in the world when you know you're done. They got you. You ain't getting away. There's
or
no
for
escape.
for the people that have been in trouble before.
For the people that, for the people that have it, what I'm saying, but people that haven't, they don't know what that feeling is.
Right. Wait,
so stay away from crime.
Yeah, but wait, describe that, because I was always curious about this with you, is because you've gotten arrested a lot of times, and you knew, like, there were, how many times did you go back to jail?
When you get out?
Yeah.
Several times, probably 5 or 6 times.
So describe the feeling when you know you're fucked, like you're about to go, like they.
Well, one of the things they do, you know what's funny about guys that are in trouble and they cop pleas or they go to jail and they get 3 years or 10 years or whatever they're getting, before they're getting released, on the way out, they call you, what they call you to is R&D. And when you get called R&D before, like,
what's that mean?
R&D is reception and reception and something, whatever it stands for, reception something. But when they call you into that situation, you know they're hitting you with a new case most likely. So you're ready to, so people before they hit in the door, if they know they have other issues, they're not taken care of yet. When you go, you're so tentative to go there because you know in the back of your mind, yeah, I think I'm going to get hit with the other case, even if you're not there for that reason. But all of us think that.
So they tell you this on the way out.
Oh, they get a lot of guys that way because they try to break them that way.
Oh.
And then, guys ready to go home. There was a guy, Montoya, that was very good friends of mine. He was from Honduras.
Yeah.
And he was getting out. And he was like, RRC. And he wasn't making a big deal about it. And I'm like, he was real close with me. And he kept telling me, I got other problems. So when he went to leave, he came back. He's all smiling. He came back an hour later. He goes, I knew I wasn't getting out. They hit me with more cases.
Wait, but were there times when? So describe describe the feeling when you see, like, how'd it happen when the cops come and get you? Like, is it usually, it's like multiple cars? Like, how do you start knowing, and then like the feeling of like, oh my God, fuck, I'm going back.
Well, I'll give you the one. The last time they got me was nothing serious, and I thought it was very serious. 2001, I believe. They got me for the bribery charge in prisons. And we were out all night. A friend of mine, Pat, an Irish guy, he's been in prison too. He knows the feeling. Pat, you know the feeling. Because I told him it was coming when he got locked up. But we were out drinking. Me, him, another guy, Tony, 3 or 4 of us. And it was 5 in the morning, and I had a lot of dogs. And my dogs were all barking like crazy. And when you're hungover, you got a bad hangover. We're all sleeping on floors, couches. I think it was somebody else there, 4th guy. And then all of a sudden, I heard something on the roof. And I'm like, now my dogs are going nuts. My one Rottweiler actually bit one of the
officers.
One of the marshals that came. So when they surround the house, they get me. Right, I just got out. They get me.
It's 5 a.m.
And it's 5 o'clock, and they're pounding on the door. So I'm like, what the fuck is this at 5 in the morning? Right? You don't realize it's 5 yet, but when you get up, you realize it's 5. Anyway.
Are you thinking it could be them?
Oh, yeah. If you're in the street, that's the hour they come.
Yeah. Oh.
So they come and they get the house surrounded. And they're like, put your hands up, because I have a glass front door. And they would put your hands up. I said, I ain't got nothing. They says, open the door, step back. Do you got any weapons in the house?
You're like,
So, well, a couple. But you don't tell them that. You say no. So when they get you, anyway, they got you cuffed.
Yeah.
And I, at that time, I says, can I call the back house? Because I got 3 houses on my property. I had an estate then. And I said, let me just tell my mother I'm getting locked up again. So I said, she thinks we're joking. So the marshal actually gets on the phone and says to her, Mrs. Alite, I'm a marshal. And she's like, can you guys stop? It's 5 o'clock and my mother's nuts.
That's hilarious.
So it was funny. And he's like, she don't believe me either. So I'm not even thinking. So I think they got me something for very serious, like,
so
this last RICO
so you
case.
Don't.
And then,
So you don't know what relieved. It's for. You don't know.
No, then
That's
I
scary
realized.
Though, too, because they could like try to pressure you into saying something.
Well, then you're not going to talk anyway, but you know, whatever, they're not going to, till you want to talk to me, we could talk. No, I got nothing to say. And then I turn around and I ask him, I go, hey, by the way, what am I getting locked up for? I didn't even think to ask. I just thought it was what I thought it was. Later on that happened. And he turns around, he says, it's a bribery and it's this. And I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to do a tap dance. When he told me that's all it is. So then I'm thinking to myself, but then when my lawyers come and get me and bail me out, and then I end up going back in, but I'm like,
what's bail set for you? Like,
I don't remember. It wasn't much. It really wasn't, because the charge was nothing really at that time. I mean, when I had when they caught me the last time for this serious case, I didn't have any bail. They wouldn't give me a bail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, understand the circumstances. I didn't think I'd get a bail, but with this case, actually, when I get bailed out, I tell my lawyer, you know, this is bullshit. This is just to keep me around. They're gonna hit me with something else. And, you know, the lawyer's always telling you, don't worry about it because it ain't them. They're not going to jail. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's the worst feeling.
But then you get locked, like in the car on the way there, on the way, so you go back to jail. You just go straight to jail?
Yeah.
You're just like,
you're going through here you
and
go.
You're hungover.
You're hungover, you're getting fingerprinted. You go, here we go again. You know, it's just misery. You know, you just left. You're back again.
How much time had it been since you were?
Oh, nothing. I don't remember, but maybe a month or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just enough time to like taste your bed again.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. It's the worst.
And how many years did you do for that one?
That was just about a year, I think, violation, something like that.
I
went in and out, so it was a total probably about a year or two.
So I don't even know this. When was the last, like the final time you were in jail? When did you get out?
That's about 9 years ago now, 10 years.
And what was the final case for, or what was?
That was the RICO case, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you think that you would avoid, like when you went back this time, for example, did you think that you had avoided the RICO, or you knew that was coming later?
No, I knew. That's why I took off.
Oh,
I knew it was coming. There was no way that wasn't going to come.
Right. So wait, because I don't remember this part. When you took off, so you did a year for the bribery.
Yeah.
Then you get out. So that's like 2002?
About 2002, yeah.
And then you knew the RICO was coming.
Yeah, well, the only good thing about getting back in, if there is any good thing, you knew that I was getting off paper pretty soon. It killed my paper because the law keeps changing.
What does that mean?
Your parole paper, your probation, whatever. So as soon as I got off paper, I left.
Okay. Yeah, so for people like the new listeners who haven't listened to the first episode that I had with John on, or any of our when we had our show, you took off. How many years total was that? I don't even remember.
I took off before they caught me, about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe a year and a half.
And then that's when they caught you in Brazil?
When they catch you, yeah. So I left in about 2000. Yeah, about a year and a half.
So they caught you in 2004?
Yeah.
In Brazil?
Yeah. I went to all those countries.
Right. Yeah, for people.
We should name them all.
Yeah, name them for like people who haven't.
All right, let's see. We were in.
Where'd you first go? Well, okay, wait. My first question before you even say that is, because I remember you telling me this, I don't know when, but you kind of knew that they were going to get you for the big RICO case.
Yep.
So you started preparing your departure. And will you like kind of explain once again, like what the preparation is like when you're about to go on the run?
Well, I started moving money. The first thing I did was started to move money to Canada. And from Canada banking system, I can go from Cuba. So I hooked up accounts in Canada so I can bank, because there was no relationships Cuba and the United States.
They let you do it yourself? You had someone
else
do it?
No, I had people do it for me.
And so how would you get them the money?
When I get to Cuba, I can bank. I got the cards and I went into the bank in Cuba. So they gave me a signature on it.
So you went to Cuba first to get the money, then like how'd you get it to Canada?
No, I moved the money to Canada first through
like
friends.
Physically? Like you drove there?
No, I had friends take it.
Okay.
And then banked it into Canada.
Okay.
And then Canada to Cuba once I got to Cuba.
Okay.
And before Cuba, I was in the Cayman Islands and I was in a Club Med. Where was I? I can't think of the island that I went to. I went to an island before it came. Then I went to the Club Med.
How much money are we talking when you're moving it?
I think I moved about 150,000 to Canada. And then Cuba, I went and I started what I did. In Cuba, you can bring, I believe it was a couple of hundred for each person. I think that's all they're allowed for a year. I think it was 200. That's all they're allowed, each person. So I set up a system where I got 20 names a month. And I'd give them $20 or $30 off the 200. And then they come with me, and I'd line up 20 people and go in and get my money. They come out, give me my money. I give them $30. I think it was 30.
You give them $30?
$30. That's big money for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they only get like 20 a month.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're only allowed to do that once a year. So I give them the $30. It's free money for them. The only thing is you got to have them with you. Because if not with you, they'll take the money and they're gone.
Leave, yeah.
So I did that almost every month or every other month, besides the money I already had in the banking system. Then I sent money to Albania through family.
So how long were you in Cuba for?
Cuba, I used to go in and out of Cuba on a regular, but I stayed there
just to
about
get the
6
money?
months. No, I lived there.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived there. But I used to go back and forth, and you're allowed 6 months, and you got to leave for 3. I think it's 6 months for the year, and then I got an extension for 3 months, something like that.
And then how many? So I remember you told me the story with the passports. You had like 8 different passports.
Yeah, I had 6 good ones, 2 shitty ones, but I had 8. I got caught with them, and let's see. So I went Cuba.
Yeah, tell us the order in which you went.
Oh, that's hard. But I went to. I can't remember the island that was at. It's a cool island too. That was the first place I went. My friend lived there, Brian, his brother actually. That's why St. Lucia. I was like, why can't I remember where I was? I went to St. Lucia. From St. Lucia, I went to Cayman, and from Cayman you fly over to hop over. It's only a 40-minute flight into Cuba. They don't stamp your passport. They put a piece of paper inside your passport. I went into Cuba. Then from Cuba, I jumped around. And then I went to Venezuela. I went to Colombia. Later on, I go to the other coast. I went to Canary Islands. Went to Africa, West Africa. I went to Senegal in West Africa. I went to Jakarta. I went to Paris, Albania, Italy, Germany, all those Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil.
And so how long are you in each of those places?
Oh, I set up apartments in everywhere I went.
Like how'd you set them up?
What I would go, like say when I was in Brazil, I went over to Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. They were all there they're all at the frontier of Falls of Iguazu. So I went to Falls of Iguazu. It's like our Niagara Falls. I used that as a vacation thing. I took a couple of people with me. They didn't know what I was doing. And
who are these people and how you meet them?
One guy was a fireman that got divorced in Wales, and he was down there with a girl, so he was hanging out with her. I says, hey, you just want to go on vacation? We'll rent a car. And they go, yeah. And another guy, Scott, he was an American kid, and another guy from the UK. So we all just started traveling together, and it looked like we were just touring around.
But they didn't know you?
They had no idea.
Oh, nothing. So you brought them along?
It was like a tour. It was a bunch of us. So we went to Florianopolis. We went all over Brazil, Curitiba.
But what did they think you did? Because you don't look
normal.
I
was fighting. They used to come watch me fight. I used to be at the gym, Tor Mariano's gym. And that's where the FBI started casing me out because they knew I was in all the gyms.
Oh, okay.
Not the FBI.
So you kind of like
Interpol.
Interpol. So you would kind of like quote unquote promote yourself as a fighter.
Yeah, like when I was in Italy. When I was in Italy, I went to the gyms. Greece, I went to the gyms. In Albania, I'm in the gym. Everybody knows I'm fighting in all the gyms. So I'm at all these gyms. I'm going from gym to gym. And
you're just making friends like?
I'm making friends. I'm jumping in a ring. I'm sparring all the time. I'm fighting bootleg fights in Colombia, which I was on television actually by accident. And then the immigration came looking for me, not Interpol, and immigration. And then I had connections there. So they drove me from there into Venezuela. That's where I ended up in an army base in Venezuela. So I just kept jumping around.
Wait, and so what I was wondering is, before you left, who did you tell that you were leaving?
I told my dad only. I told my kids goodbye. They didn't understand. They were young. Yeah, they were kids. I mean, very young.
And your wife at the time?
Yeah, I didn't say much. I didn't say anything, actually. Just got up and left. I just told my father.
Fuck.
I set up 20 phone booths. I gave him where each one was. I numbered them. So one was number 1 to number 20. I said, Dad, when I call, I'm never going to use that house phone. I says, I'm going to call these phones, and those are the phones you go to from 1 to 20, and then you call me. We set up times and dates. I go, wherever I say I am, even on those phones, is not where I am. So if I said I'm in Colombia, when he asked, what are you doing? I said, I'm in Colombia. I might be in Cuba. If I said I'm in Cuba, then I also set up my internet with a friend of mine, Ryan, at Cayman Islands, that was helping me.
Yeah.
He had my passwords, and he would write my family, hello, I miss you, like he was me. And then I had my cousin do it in Albania. And then I had a friend of mine do it in Brazil. And I did it like that in different countries also. So when people are saying well, they caught me through the internet, and it's not true. Yeah, I don't know where they're getting that. It's just misinformation from the media. But that's not how they got me.
Fuck. So did you have a plan on when you were going to come back? Did you think you were just going to never come back?
Yeah, my plan was to stay away for 5 years, see who was dead, see how many agents retire, see what the cases are looking like for everybody else. And then I'll make decisions to try to make a deal from attorneys I'll hire from out of the country. If I come back, you're in a stronger position. And I was trying to get permanent residency. I should have never left Venezuela or Cuba because I could have got permanent residency in both. I made a big mistake in Brazil. I mean, in retrospect. But when you look at it now, it helped me change my life. I advocate for kids, for the people that don't know. I'm out and involved in all these programs and stuff.
So wait, so then you're going to these different places, you're making different friends. They think you're kind of a fighter because you're jacked, and you're kind of bringing them along to kind of like integrate into like being normal.
Yeah, I mean, like we went to Colombia.
What'd you tell them your name was?
I used different names on the passport. Sometimes I just use my real name, but I just said that later on when I'm in certain spots, I'll change my name. But with my friends, like in Brazil, they knew my name was John.
Did you have like quote unquote like people advising you on how to stay low in different places?
Yeah, I had a couple of people help me. I had a guy in Brazil that was helping me. In Venezuela, I had people in Colombia. Yeah. They were helping me. They got me apartments. They moved me around. They did.
So how much money did you have total?
Well, when I got on a plane to leave, I actually, and this is, after 9/11, and I still got on a plane with $60,000 taped to me.
Oh my God.
I had the money belt. I had $60,000 on me. So I'm like,
going from where to where?
I was going to St. Lucia from the United States. But what I did do was I took a limousine down to Florida, and I didn't leave from New York, Philadelphia, Jersey, because I was worried about leaving out of one of these ports, and I left from Florida, which you would think going through those, if you stack up bills, so I shouldn't be teaching everybody that, but the bars actually are some sort of magnetic, should make the system beep, but it didn't. I don't know why, but I had $60,000.
And you just had six.
Because you're going through those metal detectors. I think they're a little better now than they used to be.
Of course they're better. No,
well, back then it was 2,000. Yeah, but you put your hands up and they could see that you were wearing a belt. Now, back then they didn't have that. I don't know what they had then. So you're talking about 2003.
You must have been nervous though, walking like.
I thought because they were looking at me. Actually, I thought I was, but I really wasn't worried about that. I wasn't sure if there was a warrant on me yet. So I was like, they're going to confiscate the money. They're going to say, where you going? I'm saying, I'm on vacation. I'm in 3 bags. That's why I did the St. Lucia thing. I made the Club Med thing. So I would say, yeah, I went there with, where am I going to put $6,000 in my pocket?
Did you feel any guilt when you were leaving and you hadn't really told your kids or you hadn't really told your wife?
No, I thought I was, because in my mind I was coming back, or I was going to make a deal to come back or bring them to me. I really was thinking Cuba in those days, to live in Cuba, because I knew there was other people that had done it and got residency, and I knew there was no relationship.
Interesting. So what was I don't even remember, what was the fatal mistake that you made in Brazil? Like, how did they?
I stayed the extra couple of days. I already booked to go to Argentina. I already went to Argentina. So what I was saying is when I go to these places, I have connections there or friends there before I go through different people, and I set up apartments. So when I was in Argentina, I was there a couple times before, and I had some friends there. A couple of girls lived together in an apartment. So they let me stay in their apartment. They told me they'll fix me up with another apartment when I come, or I could stay with them. So I already had the apartment, plus I had them. So in Uruguay and Paraguay, I had guy friends that were there that were involved in streets. So they told me, don't worry about it. So I went to see them. And they had family members that were taking care of me. And when I was in Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, I got people all over there, Albanians all over those countries. Amsterdam, I was in every country. So when I'm moving around to all these countries, I got hooks. When I was in West Africa, I was with a friend that helped me get the passports there. So I stayed in West Africa for a couple of weeks.
Like, how'd you find like this guy in West Africa that's getting you passports?
They were friends already, and it was through a friend. That's why I went there. Because again,
these are street guys all over the world.
Yeah, but back then I think it was Bush that they hated, and so when I get there, the guy was mad. He's talking to my friend. My friend's like an equivalent of back then of a senator, and so they were arguing back and forth. I said, "What is he saying?" And he was mad because I'm from the United States and they didn't have relationships. Right. Tell him if I had such a good relationship myself, I wouldn't be here. We're looking to buy passports.
Yeah.
So, and then Venezuela, I got 2 passports. They were okay. And then I had a travel European, I don't know what it is. It's not really a passport. I had Albania. I got one from there.
But you never got stopped at any of these airports with these fake passports?
No, listen, in the international stuff, when you're going through these frontiers, like Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, they don't really look. It's kind of like us going to Canada before the way it was. Now It's a little stricter. They don't really look when you're going through Mexico, the United States, very easy to cross. Right. It's when you're going to Colombia and Venezuela, they drove me through and we paid. I had a caravan of guys taking me and they had the hook. So it depends on the country. When you're going through like to Paris or one of these, like I went to Geneva into Paris by train.
Europe got to be stricter, no?
Yeah, Europe. So, no, not really, because you're taking the train. What they do is
the train.
They're taking my passport. They take your passport before you get on, and they give it back. So while I'm on the train, I'm really worried about what are they doing with that passport while you're on train. I really still don't know what they do with it. Do they check? But I actually did get grabbed in Amsterdam going back to Paris on the train. They didn't. They came to get me. They jumped the arrest warrant. So they did get me. I don't really know how they got me on that. I knew they were following me in France. So
then what happened when
they had to let me go? They didn't have anything on me. There was no arrest warrant yet. There was a follow me thing on Interpol. Later on, I'm on the most wanted.
And did you you must have been stressed as shit when you're going on all these borders and
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're going. And when you're flying, I try not to fly that often because it's a little strict. When you're on these trains, you know what they do.
Yeah.
And when you go into these Central America countries, South America countries, they're a little easier to move around in. So you got to watch where you're going and how you're moving.
You're bribing these guys in some of the
South
American countries.
Too, I got big money back then. So it was easy for me to move around. When you got money, it's easy to move around.
How much are these different bribes when you're going across these borders, in the caravan?
I was in Cayman Islands and I went over to Jamaica and then I was on these boats. So I'd give them $500 to take me across, that caps. But I was also in Africa and they put me on a cargo ship. So I had to give him a couple bucks. I don't remember what I gave him, but I gave the captain. You know what I was worried about more so is what's on these cargo. Imagine if they jumped that cargo ship and there's fucking 1,000 keys on there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm on the ship with them.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know.
Not a good look.
Obviously they're moving around too.
Oh, of course.
Well, they wouldn't let me on and take a bribe.
Oh, right.
You move around. Plus, I took regular cruises. I was on a regular cruise. I did a lot of things.
Did you, so there was in all these different places, you were still with a lot of street guys from those places, dangerous dudes.
Yeah, I know everybody in different countries. Now, I mean, I still know a lot of guys. I just
did you commit any crimes when you were on the run?
Nah.
You didn't help them do anything?
No. People asked me to do things actually when I was there.
But
one of them was the same guys that were friends with me from Germany, Albania. Guys wanted me to rob Klaus. We talked about that during his movie.
Oh.
And they didn't know that me and Klaus were friends. They were asking me to rob a guy, and he's got big money. And they're telling me he's always in the casino. He lives here. He says he's a big guy.
And you didn't want to do it?
No, I went to see who it was, and it was Klaus.
Oh.
I said, so you guys can't rob him. That's my friend. It's just coincidence. The guy that asked me to rob him was living in Spain. He got kicked out. He was living in Germany. He's Albanian. Oh. And he came to see me through another Albanian friend of mine that used to own clubs in Spain called the Baja Club. And they were all from Amsterdam. So I know a lot. The thing about the Albanian community is we're in every country. You can go to the UK. I know, people see when I travel around now, I got guys in every country. So I know everybody in every country, whether it's Canada, whether it's UK, whether it's Italy, whether it's France. I got guys every country. So anywhere I go, Amsterdam, I'm always with groups of guys.
What's the stickiest situation you got in when you're on the run?
I ran. You know what's funny? It's like we attached to each other. There was 2 guys and a girl that were robbing banks. So in 2003, you can speak French, and you're always there. I bet you can find the case. They were bank robbers, and they were all over the media. And I walked into the post office in France.
So you knew these 2 before, though?
I didn't know them. And as I'm walking out, I seen the girl keep looking at me with the guy. So at first I'm saying, they don't look like Interpol. I don't know what they keep looking, they're looking, and I'm trying to get my money. I figured who was with me helping me to get money, because we were getting money in the post office there. And so I walk out, and they're looking at me, and they call me over, and they don't speak good English. So we're going back and forth, and I start to laugh. I go, listen, I'm going to tell you something that I'm leaving. I'm probably the worst guy you can ask to help you, because I'm in trouble too. And then they tell me who they are. And they go, we got nobody to go to. And they got the girl, I think was either the sister of one of the guys or the girlfriend, I don't remember. And they were robbing banks, and she was trying to help them. So I ended up giving them $500 out of my own money.
To do what?
They had no money. I was trying to help them because they robbed the bank and they couldn't get money. I don't know the whole details what happened to the money, if they hid it or if they didn't get away with it. Yeah. But they hit a couple. But if you go online 2003, you got to look at it and see where it is. So anyway, I give them $500, and then I try to help them. I bring them somebody. I figured who I bring them so they can get money sent to them. But I gave them money.
So wow. Yeah, that sounds pretty sticky.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird how of all the people, they picked me.
Did you, I wonder, I've seen the pictures of you back then. Not that you look like, you're super shredded.
Yeah.
You didn't look like, per se, like your average criminal, I guess.
Well, I used to, when I was in Spain, Barcelona, I met a girl, and I ended up living with her and 4 friends. It was five of them and me. We lived in an apartment in
sure,
Sitges.
That was awful.
Yeah, it was really hard time. Hard life.
John and 4 girls in Spain. That sounds terrible for you.
So I'll tell you the worst part about it was only 1 bathroom. You couldn't get in there. I used to say, Jesus. So, after, they'd be in the shower, go, listen, I'm using, at the beginning you're shy, and you're on the toilet.
But what did they think? But who do they think?
They knew. At the beginning they didn't know.
But how do you bring, how does one bring up this conversation?
It's like anything. You got to know them first. Because if you just, it's like me and you, right? We're always together. You know me. You know my personality. You know I got a different life. If we just said that to some kid at your school, if they only heard the part about me in the past, not my present or future.
Terrified.
Yeah. So it's the same with them. They have to know you first.
Yeah.
And then they're comfortable with you, then you can
spoon
feed them a little.
Right, but initially, how do you even bring up initially they're just kind of like, hey, what's your story? What do you say?
Oh, I just told them I was going through a bad divorce. I don't think I said divorce. I said relationship. So I said, I have a couple of bucks, and I just wanted to come abroad for a year. That was and I travel. I met so many people because you travel on trains. You travel all over the place.
But there's not really, there's what kind of communication devices are there at the time? Like early phones?
Everybody speaks enough, and you can get by. I mean, listen, I speak Spanish, so when I was in Italy, I ran into a couple guys that hung out with me, and then I ran into 2 Australian girls in Greece. They stayed with me for a month. We rented a house together in Greece, and they met me before we got on. I think we got on one of those ferries, fast ferries. But anyway, we met, and then they end up saying, all right. I says, I'll pay for the house. You just want to get a house with me? And I said, I'll pay.
So they're probably sussed out, though. They're probably what's...
They were cool with me. They wanted me to go with them and keep traveling with them.
Yeah, you're also paying for all their shit, of course.
Well, Greece was cheap, especially back then. For a month, it was nothing. I mean, I was shocked. I forget what it was, but it was like $400, say. It was nothing. It was like paying a month's rent. He says, because at the time they were having trouble with the currency.
Man.
But
you knew you were gonna get locked up the second you came back here, right?
Yeah, everybody was giving me up. There was too many people talking.
How
they were all meeting government. Everybody was sneaking around.
But how long did you think you could? Maybe you thought you were gonna come back and rest of your life?
Yeah, I mean there was a serious cases, so I figured I was finished.
How old were you when you were on the run?
When I left, about 40. Yeah.
So you knew Everyone's giving you up. You're like, when I come back, I'm.
Oh, it was all over the media. Everybody's talking.
So, but there
the bosses
there
are
had
all
to be a
talking.
point where
They're
you were
wearing
like,
wires, they're doing everything.
No,
Meeting the government. Everybody's got excuses, but everybody knows what they're doing.
But there had to be a point where you were like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna kind of give up on this, going back to the U.S. and making a deal because I'm probably fucked. Like, did you ever think you were gonna like just be in Europe or wherever?
Nah, because it's not what people think. Like, a lot of these cases, serious cases, violent cases, murder cases, if they don't catch you with a gun in hand and on tape, you get deals. Guys get 5-year deals, 7 years deals, 10-year deals. It's not what everybody thinks life. Unless you get caught completely with, DNA against you and some other guys. If just guys talking against you, you could still get a deal because their testimonies are always tainted and, their lifestyles are bad. And, so you have different things and options.
Was jail, so then you did, so that was your after you came back, you got hit with the RICO? And then how many total?
Well, I didn't come back. They brought me back.
Right. It's not like you.
I was holding on to people's legs, don't pull them.
But when they got you in, so then they get you in Brazil. Wait, and I forget this story, but it was like they like there's a lot of people that.
Oh yeah. When they get me in Brazil.
What time of night was that?
There's a video out that it was in the daytime, and my friend was a regular guy. He never knew about me. He panicked. He was screaming and yelling, this guy Leo, because they had guns on us from everywhere, from the rooftops, from
Where
the
were you again?
I was in Copacabana on Avenida Senora. It's packed. It's a 4-lane main thoroughfare.
So you're on a street,
thoroughfare,
and do you see one person first, one officer first?
No, it was just quiet. It was no noise.
There's a lot of people.
There's no exhaust systems on their cars and on their buses. It's loud as shit.
Oh, so it's loud as fuck.
And he's on the telephone trying to call a girl that I know that he likes, so I'm trying to fix him up with her. We just left her apartment, but some guy she was dating was there. So he gets on the phone, and at first I get on the phone. I hand him the phone. And while he's talking, I'm just standing there. I'm like moving around my shoulder and whatever I'm doing. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, it's quiet. And I look up, and I see everybody looking down at me from the apartments. And the hotels, they're all but the heads out the window. And I'm looking up, and then I see a helicopter, and then I see guns, and then I look down, and I see the military police, and then I see Interpol, and everybody screaming at me.
Oh, that's got to be like way worse than being arrested at your house.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, the thing is, they really, they were pretty under control, and they didn't kill me. They should have shot me.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, because I didn't put my hands up. They asked me to put my hands up, get on the ground.
Did you want to die at that point?
I didn't think about it. It wasn't like I was trying to be a tough guy. I just was.
Why didn't you put your hands up?
Because I guess subconsciously I figured let them kill me. I'm done.
Oh, really?
I just didn't respond. And they kept screaming at me, and I was like...
Wait, that's so interesting. So you at that point, you're just like, you're probably, oh my God, you're probably in some state.
Well, it happened to me on a train in Amsterdam with the Gestapo when I was in France. I did the same thing, and I put my hands up. And this isn't the same thing. I wasn't trying to be a tough guy. I ain't doing it. Because it's kind of like you're saying, all right, just kill me.
Subconsciously, you're just like, just kill me.
Yeah.
Point, I'm done.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I talked to the therapist about that.
Really?
And they said that's what I was...
Yeah, I feel like
in my mind, I was thinking, all right, fuck it. It's over.
And so then when you wouldn't put your hands up here in Brazil, then they just tackled you, or what did they do?
Yeah, they just tackled me, all of them. They just kept slowly coming on me, and they were...
What are the people around you saying? Like,
everybody at that time screaming,
yeah. Screaming?
Yeah. At first it's complete quiet, then it's chaos. And I got to tell you, they were pretty good, the Brazilian forces, because they did it quick, and they swooped me up and all carried me into a car. I think initially they carried me, and then they put me down and they walked me into a truck. And they got me out of there just as quick as it happened. They just swooped me up the street.
And then they bring you where?
They brought me to an area that was completely deserted. And if you didn't know anybody, you'd think they were going to clip me in there. Yeah. 100%.
Like ISIS style?
It was complete. I go, this is no way. This is a prison. I don't know what this is. It looked like an abandoned factory.
So at that point, you just think you're dead.
I think I'm dead. I'm looking at him like, and I did say to him, I go, well, you might as well just do it then. And he was like, what? And I go, I know what you're doing. He looked at me like I was nuts. But there was no lights on. They didn't even know what a light. There was nobody in the building. Nobody. And they got me all shackled up. My hands, my waist, my feet. So.
And then what happens?
They're bringing me up the stairs, and they're acting crazy with me. And I'm like, and they go, we know you're good with your hands. And I'm like, they thought I was really, they exaggerate the media, because I fought a little bit jiu-jitsu. I stink. I mean, just like an average fighter for a year, just trying to learn some defensive moves in jiu-jitsu. So whatever they got on their information, they were worried about me. And I was in great shape then. I was running 15 miles a day. I was nuts. I work out day and night.
The pictures are insane.
Yeah, I was a 5-hour workout guy every day. So, I was in shape.
And do you get a lawyer?
Yeah. I got Otavio Neves was my attorney. I paid about $250,000 from. And then I hired investigators there, and then I hired investigators and lawyers in New York.
And so they made deals with the government here? Like, how's that work when they...
No, I fought the extradition. I actually won the first the first indictment. They sent the second, which was a superseding indictment. Never did they ever accept the second indictment. They accepted it. Not ever. It's not legal. And they accepted it and convicted me on the second indictment.
And so then you get back and you do how many years total for that?
10 years.
How many?
I think the papers say 6 all the time. I don't know.
How
6,
many?
But if they should come in with me, it was 10.
How many in solitary?
Oh, I did it the whole thing. I never seen a yard. That's completely solitary, but lockdown. In lockdown cells, lockdown units. I fought them when I was in Pinellas and Hillsborough. I was in about 7 or 8 different jails in Florida, and I refused to get locked down into any protective custody. And I'm like, I'm not going protective because these guys were ratting on me. I says, I'm not. That ain't switching the story. And the guys in the prison, within the prison, says, all knew they were giving me up. They were the ones telling me, everybody's been through these prisons. They're all talking against you. So I said, I'm not getting, they tried to lock me in, and I fought it. And then someone dropped a note that my life was in danger, and that's bullshit. That was just an excuse to get me locked down. And then they locked me down into solitary.
Wow, so for 10 years, you were in basically high intensive, solitary or lockdown kind of.
Yeah,
jails.
I was I was on a floor in MCC Miami with Noriega. Noriega was on the same wing as me. It was only us two. Nobody was allowed on that wing. He had his own section. I did. I used to read books about him, actually, because I was interested in his life. So there was 3 books, I believe. It was definitely 2 I read, but it might have been 3 in his life. And I used to read them. I used to yell out and ask him, is this true? True. But so he was in MCC Miami. I was in lockdown in Falkenberg, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Lake County, Hernando County. I was in a lot of them.
Did you get to see your kids or your family in between when you came
Just
back?
once. Yeah, one time. That was it. I didn't see my kids for
what was that?
Basically before that, about 10, close to 10, between the time on the run and then in jail. And then I didn't see him again until later on when I came back into New York.
What was your...
I just did that series, Locked Up Abroad. That was out. I think that was out, about a year ago?
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your kind of biggest takeaway? When you're in jail at that point, what was your biggest, reflection?
Robert Blake, don't do the time. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Now, you know what? Listen, the nonsense people believe in, I say it all the time. These guys are all full of shit in the street. They all ratting on you. The whole facilities, every jail was telling me, John, everybody's came through, they're giving testimony against you. So everybody knew this. This wasn't a secret that everybody was talking. Yeah. All the bosses were talking in several families, all their underbosses, all their captains. I mean, a ton of them were all giving up info. So, and then you got the regular guys also giving you up. So, it's not what people think with this honor crap that everybody buys into. That's why I'm so aggressively advocating for kids not to get involved in the street.
What's something, because if somebody asked me this question, I'd probably have my own answer, but what's something that you wish that more people out there knew about you now as a person?
Now?
Yeah.
That I dedicate myself now to tell people enjoy their life, because that's what I'm doing now.
But what do you think is the biggest kind of misconception about who you are as a person now?
That I really care about the mob stuff at all, because I really don't care about it.
Yeah.
One way or another. It's a past, and it's not what people believe in or buy into. And I think that the misconception of that is that I care about that life. It's just something that I was involved in like any other job, and I moved on.
What was maybe the biggest misconception, I'm curious too, of who you were back in those days?
Listen, I was, you can't hide the fact that I was very violent. Anybody that really knows the story knows. There's probably nobody on the streets as violent as me back in those days. And there's a handful of guys that were violent, and most of the guys weren't. The difference is I'm not trying to live that life anymore.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing all the time. If, a person is who he is, but I just don't want no part of that anymore.
But how do you think, like, in reflecting on it now, like, how do you think that you were able to be so violent at that time?
Because I wasn't faking it. A lot of guys are faking it because they're afraid of what's going to happen to them. I've been stabbed up. I've been baseball batted several times. I've been shot. And I didn't give a shit about my own life. So I didn't fake it. It's like a guy that commits suicide, right? He goes out and he does things, and he's not afraid. He's shooting it out, and then he shoots himself.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have no fear of dying. He knows he's gonna go out dying. He's gonna kill him. For whatever crazy reason in my head, I didn't care what happened to me. That's not me today, but that was me back then.
Did you not like yourself?
I guess not. I mean, I've been to therapy a lot. I had no regard for my own life. So I would take it, when guys would talk, I'd be with, say, 10 guys. They talk crap. I knew they were talking crap because I can feel it inside that they're not going to do what I do.
Right.
So if you told me 5 guys went outside the door and they had $500,000, I'm going through the door. I know they're not really going through the door unless I go first.
But did you want to do these things to be more liked in a sense?
No.
Or to be more respected?
Well, in that life, you're doing things for money, power, and
but the
respect comes with it.
You had money, and
I grew up with no money.
Right.
I developed myself into when people, you get nonsense people that don't know. I mean, when you're living in a state that I had, that's $10 million state, 7-block driveway, 3 homes, lakes, outdoor boxing rings. You're living outside the norm of any normal person. When this
is stuff that he's showing me pictures about.
Yeah. Well, people, there's a million people that are friends with us that, they testified against me or for me, saying that I was a spending machine. I was crazy with money.
Yeah.
But the idea is money or life. I'll choose life now over money. Yeah. And the people that think they're going to take the shortcut to the money, they're going to find life in jail, or they're going to lose their life, or they're going to get hurt real bad like I did. There is no free ride. You're going to pay for it with your life. It's just not worth it.
So wrapping things up, like, describe for non-criminals out there what it's like to be a former criminal that now gets to walk on the streets with you can talk about everything, you can go into restaurants, you can travel, you can, describe that feeling of freedom now that like I've never thought about me being able to walk anywhere or me being able to do anything. But you have the two perspectives of, spending 20 years in jail and now the rest of your life free. Describe how much of a privilege that is, just so that people listening who might be on that border of living life of crime, to hear it from you about what it's like to live.
I tell everybody it's tempted by the money. When you step outside the door, you open that door and it's sunshine hitting you, you don't really appreciate the sunshine hitting you until you're one of those inmates go visit that's in a cell somewhere that ain't getting out for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And he doesn't get that opportunity. He'll go out that door and go get a sandwich.
Yeah.
Or jump in the shower without shower shoes. Or jump in the shower and not bring a knife with you if you're in a serious joint, not knowing if you got a problem with another guy, are they going to hit you today? To live with every step almost as a mine, and you're going to step on it and die, is that street life. Because every time you get up in the morning, you don't know if you're getting a life sentence. You don't know if one of your enemies are coming to kill you. You don't know if your family's going to pay for your crimes. I mean, it's not really living. You're living, but you're not really freely living.
Yeah.
So chain yourself up and have all that money, you're just not really enjoying it the same as when you make good choices. And there's so many ways to make money, really. And, every these inner city kids that I go see and I talk about so much, and I was one of them. The biggest thing for me is, and that's why I never believed in a lot of the stuff of defunding the police and everything, because I thought it's going to hurt them only. The rich don't suffer from this stuff. It's all the inner city kids that are getting jammed up because it's like a free-for-all, like a wild, wild west. Like for me, when I was a criminal, I'd love it. No police or less police. And then I'd say to myself, when you think about it, to me, this is designed purposely to hurt the inner cities. That's my opinion. I think they're doing it purposely because they don't care about them. They're saying, fuck these kids. Let them all kill each other. Let them all go to jail. We have an excuse. We're acting like we're helping them. We're not helping them. We're only hurting those neighborhoods. So the rich always have private security. They always get gated fences. So I keep telling my whole movement is don't fall for the traps. Your life is worth more than everybody else's. Don't believe that you're not worth anything or you end up like me.
Right.
You got to believe in yourself.
I guess my last question in that is like, do you think about it every time that you feel sunlight, like what that you could have easily never felt that again?
The biggest thing I always say, and I love the water, is, man, I remember the first time I went back to the beach. It was just different. The wind blowing in your face, and you think about those days you're sitting in a solitary cell, and the guards are coming down to give me a beating, and everybody's screaming. They know they're coming for me, right? And you're waiting, and I'm talking about in the foreign jails. In the United States, it's the same thing. Think about them dragging you, and they're going to hit you with another case. Think about the misery every time you go into court, and your life's over, and you're saying, what happened to my life? What happened to all that money that I thought I had? It's gone now. Everything's gone. So why did I sacrifice? Why did I get stabbed up for? When I could have just went into a legit job or a business, smart enough to hustle. If you're smart enough to hustle on those street, every junk dealer on the street, every kid that puts a pistol in his hand, that means he has the balls to go out and make money. You can have the balls to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. They just don't know it yet because, like I did, no one ever really told us or showed us there's other opportunities.
So this is what you're thinking about at the beach?
Yeah. Every time you go to, you want to take the kids from our neighbor and go, come down here and see what we're missing. We didn't see this.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see it really. I went to Rockaway Beach, big deal. I didn't know what Newport is in Cali, or I didn't know what Colombia is on those beaches, or France. I didn't know that. And I know those kids in the neighborhood don't know that.
Yeah.
No one showed us this.
Yeah. Well, always appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's always good to, I mean, I think I love hearing these stories too. And I think people who are more interested in more of this, there's all the stuff that you're doing now. There's all of our stuff that's still out there. Our first episode. So,
we got to get one thing. Me and you got to get even. We're not finished with the old life.
Yeah.
We got revenge on Chris.
Oh yeah.
And Practical Jokers, Sal. We're coming for you guys. Expect it.
What's the saying? I'm gonna. What's the thing that he said?
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna come at you different.
Yeah, I'm gonna come at you in a different way.
Chris better be here.
You better have TT with you, Chris.
I know. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Sweet.
See ya.